All right, let's jump right into this. We're going to be looking at a really fascinating and, let's be honest, a pretty tough passage from the ancient book of Hosea. And, leaning on the work of scholar Dr. John Oswalt, we're going to explore this deeply counterintuitive idea, the idea of a love that sometimes has to hurt us in order to heal us. It's a paradox that has echoed for centuries, so let's see if we can unpack it.
You know, the whole thing really kicks off with this beautiful but just devastating line. Can you imagine saying that to someone? Your love, it's like the morning mist. It looks real, it's there for a moment, but as soon as things heat up, as soon as the day really starts, it just vanishes. This is the core problem that sets the stage for everything else. And this leads us to the big question, one that feels just as real today as it did back then. What actually happens when our commitment, our devotion, when our love just doesn't have any substance? You know, when it's fleeting and it can't handle any real pressure. This is the crisis at the heart of the whole conversation.
So, this mist-like love is our first big theme. It's an affection that shows up, sure, but it doesn't stick around. It's all feeling, but no follow-through. And as we're about to see, that's just not going to cut it.
Now this is where things get really interesting, because we see the total opposite. The love God is looking for is this incredible Hebrew concept, hesed. And Dr. Oswalt describes it as a passionate, undying devotion. But here's the kicker. It's not primarily something you feel, it's something you do. It's a love you show through your actions, through thick and thin. It is the polar opposite of a love that just disappears.
Okay, so the problem's on the table. What's the solution? Well, it starts with a surprisingly simple invitation, a call to just return.
But return here is so much more than just saying I'm sorry. As Dr. Oswalt explains, it's a command to literally turn your body around. To stop walking down a path that leads to destruction and death, and to physically turn back towards the very source of life. We're talking about a fundamental change of direction, a U-turn.
And where are you turning to? To da'at, another really profound Hebrew word. It means knowledge. But this isn't about knowing facts about God from a textbook. Dr. Oswald points out this is the exact same word used in the Bible for the deepest kind of physical intimacy, like when Adam knew Eve. So the goal isn't some business deal. It's a deep, personal, life-giving relationship.
All right, now we get to the core paradox of this whole thing. The really startling idea that the only way to be made whole is to first be broken.
The text does not mess around. It states the first part of this process in the harshest way possible, being torn to pieces. Just imagine feeling like you've been completely wrecked by the one you're supposed to be able to trust.
But then, immediately, like in the very next breath, comes the hope. The tearing isn't the point. It's not the end of the story. It's just the means to an end. And that end is healing.
Dr. Oswalt gives this brilliant analogy to help us get it. He tells a story about a missionary doctor treating a little boy whose broken arm had healed all wrong, totally crooked. And the doctor says, look, I can make it straight, but I'm going to have to hurt you. I have to break it again. It's a painful idea. But sometimes the only way to true healing is to re-break what is set wrong.
So the most important thing here is the motive behind the pain. According to Oswalt's reading, the pain is never random, it's never just rage. It's always for a reason. It's always got the ultimate goal of healing and restoration in mind. God's final word is always meant to be life, never destruction.
So the text uses another wild metaphor to explain this process. It talks about a word from God that actually has the power to kill. Now, how on earth could that possibly be a good thing?
Well, let's just walk through this, because it's such a vivid picture. Dr. Oswald tells a story about a farm kitten with this awful wound, and it's scabbed over with what his mom called proud flesh, basically a nasty mix of infection and dirt. She told him that to save the kitten, she'd have to clean it with peroxide, and that the process would hurt so much it might even kill the kitten. But here's the thing, leaving the proud flesh alone was a guaranteed death sentence. In the same way, the prophet's word acts like peroxide on the proud flesh of our sin. It kills all the self-serving junk that's leading us to death, so that real, healthy life can finally start to grow.
Okay, so all of this, the pain, the healing, the killing, the life, it all leads to this final clarifying point. What's the goal here? What is it that God is actually looking for?
The text makes it absolutely crystal clear with this comparison. Look, God isn't interested in us just going through the motions of religion. You can bring all the sacrifices in the world, but if it's not coming from a heart of hesed, that active, committed love, and a desire for da'at, that deep personal intimacy,
it's basically meaningless. He wants the relationship, not just the ritual.
Dr. Oswalt just boils it all down perfectly with this paraphrase. Your religious actions are only valuable if they're a true picture of what's actually going on inside your heart. Otherwise, they're not just empty, they can actually be sickening. And so, this ancient text leaves us with a very modern question to chew on. Are our spiritual practices, whatever they look like, are they really about building a genuine, life-changing relationship, or have they just become a kind of transaction, a way to get what we want, or to keep God on our good side? It's a challenging thought for sure, and one that gets right to the core of what it means to have faith.